Drift champion crowned last weekend in Utah. The multiple Drift Masters champion, the multiple European champion, plays into the game right now as James Deane puts on the line that Ford Mustang Spec 5 Drift Masters car on the line. Here he goes as he gets himself into outside zone 4. James Deane absolutely flawless at the moment, puts the bumper where it needs to be, looks for outside zone 5, fires this big Mustang across the circuit as he lights up the tyres. The V8 screams as Deane comes back through the smoke, the headlights shining, bumper to wall and across the line.
The question
Built
now
in Cork, piloted in Europe. James Deane comes off the line, the 5-time Formula Drift champion, the multiple European champion. What can he do right now as he puts that car towards the wall? He wants to top qualifying. There's 2 more points out there left, but where are they? As Deane puts the front bumper nice and close to the wall. On the throttle he goes into outside zone 4. Deane absolutely technical, clean and perfect in outside zone 4 as he now goes for that wide line to outside zone 5. Big transition back and he dabs the handbrake and sets himself up nice. Puts on big angle in outside zone 6, and again another driver pumping that left foot brake, getting it dialed across the line.
James, another driver that is in contention to add a very,
on the line. He knows what the job is. The job is beat James Deane and get into the final. But James Deane isn't a man you take lightly as they come off the line and through the gears. They flick it across the track. James Deane in tow as he goes for the door of that A90 Supra. They come firing through that second inside zone, back across the track and go into that long outside zone 4. Deane onto the door of the Supra. The Mustang door to door with the Supra as they come through the centre of the circuit. No messing around. 2 titans of drifting as they fire on the angle. Oh, a little shimmy from both of them as they get into that last outside zone. Deane once again on the door across the line.
And a big exhale from Piotr
Take him out once again, claw all the points back, lead the championship before tomorrow morning. Then through the gears, Deane lights off the tyres on the Mustang as Vincent goes for it on the door straight away. No messing around. The Polishman wants this more than ever in front of his home crowd. Vincent goes for it. Oh, big dive. Vincent spins the car. Deane puts the car to the wall and James Deane drives off. Vincent could have just thrown away what could have been the lead of the championship in one swift move. James Deane looks rock steady. The Irish are on their feet.
What just happened? Piotr going for that big dive.
He slams that Mustang into gear. He tests the hydro one last time. Martin has donned the shirt for the final of the qualifying showdown is underway as Deane fires that Mustang from left to right and Purser goes for it, sticks the BMW straight to the door, no messing around, shallows up the angle, takes another bite out of the door of that Mustang. They fire through. How did they squeeze both those cars on that inside zone? They make it into outside zone 4, door to door as Purser backs off now, takes another lunge at the side of the Mustang. He fires through the smoke. Deane on an absolute flyer of a lead run out front, tags the wall though. Deane upsets the line. Purser has to back out of it. They're both a little scrappy, but they get it across the line.
Oh, what a sparring match between these 2 titans. I mean, James Deane
fast. He doesn't want to let him get away. They come off the line. Kevin Purser from Estonia to lead out James Deane from Ireland as Purser flicks the back end of that BMW towards the Mustang. Deane gets into it now. Deane falls into formation as he goes door to door with Kevin Purser through the middle of the circuit, through that front clipping zone. They get into it once again in outside zone 4. Purser shallows up the angle. Look at this. Purser desperately trying to get away from the Mustang, but he can't as Kevin Purser is getting absolutely bullied by James Deane in the Mustang. He swings it wide and that opens the door even more for James Deane as Deane tags onto the back bumper. Now back onto the front wheel and on the door across the line.
Yeah, still battling that back and he's still got to go through a driver that is on farm here in Benediktas Cherba. This will be just another fun one.
It certainly will be, because the Lithuanian won't want to go down without a fire. We know that Cherba will want this one more than ever this weekend. And look at this as Cherba fires in on the door and the Mustang almost makes contact. James Deane absolutely brilliant as always, but a big mistake there from Cherba as he has to shallow up the angle, almost straighten through that inner zone. They work their way round outside zone 4. Now Cherba gets himself back into formation, but it's beautiful from James Deane. But look at Cherba, absolutely glued to the front wheel and the door of that Ford Mustang. They get into outside zone 6. There's no shaking. The Lithuanian as now shallows up. Does James Deane? He dials on the angle for the final outside zone.
Oh, man, Cherba was just absolutely chomping at the bit through this entire run, and I mean,
I do too.
There's
Yes,
not many.
Here we go, back on the line, ready to go. It's going to be Cherba to lead out James Deane as Deane slams through the gears in that Ford Mustang Spec DM fires into the outside zone. Cherba, strange line into that first outside zone, but look at Deane now, glued to the side, no messing around on that inner zone or that one as they fire in to outside zone 4. Deane will not let the Lithuanian get away. Cherba on a brilliant line as he gets all of that zone fulfilled. He looks for outside zone 5 and it's fulfilled as Deane goes down the inside. Will he manage to make the dive? And he does. Backs off ever so slightly though as Cherba tags the wall, a little upset, but now Deane onto the door, repaying the favour and painting the side of that BMW. That Ford Mustang into gear, gets the revs built up, ready to go as he comes off the line to lead out Diogo Correa for spot in the top 8 awakes. They fire through left to right into initiation. Look at Correa, he's not letting the machine get away, and he knows that James Deane will drive 110% on a perfect lead line. And what can Correa do? Can he follow him? Can he stick with the Mustang? And he certainly can at the moment. Now has to shallow up the angle, jumps in, back up onto the door he goes as Diogo Correa loses a little ground once again through the centre of the circuit, but makes the transition work. Jumps in to outside zone 6. James Deane looks flawless so far on that outside line. Long contact, wheel to wheel, almost a big wreck.
Thankfully they're able to pull out of that because that could have been pretty nasty. James Deane with a shake of the head.
Ready to go green to lead them out. Correa from Portugal to lead out James Deane from Ireland. He slams it through the gears. They fire into initiation. Deane almost backwards in that car, then shallows up the angle to keep that front wheel towards the door of Diogo Correa's BMW E92. They flick through that inside zone and back out for 4. Correa looks like he's on an absolute flyer, but does he have to do too much here? He must. He needs to keep himself into the pocket and into the zone. Deane doesn't have to go too hard, but you try telling James Deane to back down 10% as he goes wheel to wheel with him in outside zone 6. The final outside zone coming as Correa fires more angle at it. Deane sticks with him across the line.
It is amazing. James did not need to drive that aggressive, knowing the other driver in Correa has that deficit because of the contact.
In the championship in 2025. Wow. So this isn't all over for James Deane, but it could be all over for Jack Shanahan. They're off the line. This means more to both of them than ever before as they fire in to this first outside zone. Shanahan knows he could trust Deane. They've drove together constantly all season, off season. They taught each other the tricks of the trade. Jack was the master, and he understeers into the wall. Unbelievable.
What just happened to Jack Shanahan with James Deane coming around this last zone, and he's going to see the sight of his neighbor in the wall in front of him.
Well, James Deane in his brand new Ford Mustang take down the 2025 champion, or will Conor Shanahan prove to everybody he is worth it? He is the champion, and this is why he's here. They fire into initiation. James Deane goes for it, and look at Shanahan. He's not going to back down. He's already on the front wheel of that Ford Mustang as they come through the inner zone. Both guys risk it all on the wall as they fire into outside zone 4. Shanahan with Deane. There's no getting away as Deane in and out of the zone, pumping the back bumper along the wall as they fire into outside zone 5 and across the circuit to 6. Shanahan's with him the whole way. You can't even see him as they come through their own smoke. They flick the cars to angle for outside zone 7 and across the line.
There it is. That is the type of battle that we came to expect with this. Just two drivers laying it all out on the line.
Bang into here. Shanahan now leads out James Deane for a spot in the final awaits on. The door pops open on James Deane's Mustang. Can he get a hold of it? He can, and he slams it closed before initiation. Gets himself in to that first outside zone as James Deane now starts banging doors with Conor Shanahan. They fire through into outside zone 4. Deane holds back and now makes the dive. Now goes for the side of that GT86 as Shanahan deep into the zone. They both bang wheels. They come through the centre of the circuit. Bumper to bumper transition. Deane onto the wheel, onto the door. There's no messing around. Shanahan is on a perfect line. Deane buries the headlight into the front of the car.
Oh man, that's one of those. Like,
I'm going to celebrate with Conor Shanahan, but Naoki Nakamura slams that car into gear and says, well, you've got to go through me first. They're off the line. This is it. The first step on the podium awaits for one of these drivers as they slam through the gears. James Deane flicks the Ford Mustang across and into outside zone 1, but Nakamura is flawless as always into the door already as Nakamura won't let James Deane get away. They flirt with danger on the wall as they get into outside zone 4. James Deane on the throttle, on the zone, in the wall, and on contact with Naoki Nakamura as they get across the circuit into outside zone 6. James Deane dials on the angle, but it's contact, and did that upset the line from James Deane as they get into 7 across the line.
This is the type of battle that both of them are looking.
They come off the line, ready to go as both cars pop off the tarmac into gear and through across the circuit. Nakamura fires in. James Deane knows he can't let him get away. Oh, they both make contact with the wall and each other as Deane flexes the back go up through inside 3, now back onto it, into outside zone 4. James Deane on the door, tagging Nakamura, not messing around, letting him know he's there, but Nakamura seems to have a little bit more pace in that car as he squeezes the throttle, tries to drive away from James Deane. It's so